Hi everyone, if you don't know me, my name is Rob Kerr. I've worked with data for many years, from transactional systems to data warehouses to business intelligence. I'm passionate about using data science and AI techniques and sharing what I learn. And today I'm going to demonstrate how to use Azure AI to enrich an image dataset that I'll eventually analyze in Power BI. This dataset is a little unique in that the source data are images, and I'm using AI algorithms to identify objects in the images and generate descriptive metadata that I can slice and dice in Power BI. To make this demo a little more fun and personal, I'm using travel images from a few of our family vacations that I'll eventually view in Power BI. But keep in mind that these techniques can be equally applied to consumer or business scenarios. For AI enrichment of the image data source, we'll use Microsoft AI services and specifically the Azure Computer Vision service. Computer Vision provides a collection of pre-trained models that address 4 domains: optical character recognition, face, image analysis, and spatial analysis. In this solution, we'll be using the image analysis features, and specifically we'll send images to Azure AI to extract metadata such as tags, objects recognized, predefined categories. And we'll also use the AI service to generate thumbnails that intelligently crop the image so that the main subject of the image is maintained in the center of the thumbnail. To get the data ready for Power BI, we first need to ingest the images, enrich them with metadata, and put them in a repository that Power BI can pull from. So let's go through an overview of that solution. So we'll follow the typical pipeline steps of ingest, transform, model, and serve. During the transform stage is where we'll incorporate the AI services and add new metadata based on what the deep learning algorithms see in the images we're ingesting. So I'm using a C# program to manage the ingestion stage and to keep things simple and easy to follow, but there are many other solutions to this. We could implement a cloud function to process images in response to a blob storage upload event. We could use Azure Cognitive Search and implement a skill to do this kind of work. We could also just process the images as part of an ETL type pipeline. So there are a lot of ways, but the part I'd like to really focus on is the actual enrichment of the image data. So most photos have some EXIF data embedded in them, so we'll use the C# application to ingest that data and go ahead and store that. For the AI enrichment, we'll send each image to the Azure AI image analysis service so that it can provide captions, keywords, categories, landmarks. Essentially what it will do is analyze the image using models that Microsoft has pre-trained and pull out what landmarks and thumbnails and metadata that it sees. Once the image analysis is done, we'll store the metadata that we found in an Azure SQL database and then upload the full-size image as well as the generated thumbnail image to Azure Blob Store. And then finally pull all that in to Power BI so that we can analyze the data that we found both from EXIF data and from the image analysis. Okay, so that's what we're going to build, so let's look at some code. Looking at the C# application, we can see several objects that are implemented to handle things like writing to the database, reading files from the local file system. And the one I really want to focus on is this object called Computer Vision Helper, which takes images from the file system, submits them to Azure AI, and then receives back data that we can then insert into our target data source. I want to focus on this Computer Vision Helper. This is the module that we use to actually connect with Azure AI and send images to it and then receive back the metadata and other analysis that we want. This is the most important object that we create here. So this is the Computer Vision client. We pass in some credentials, and this is how we'll communicate with Azure AI. The key method in this class is analyze image. This will take an image file as a path and then some updatable props that we will write to when we get descriptive metadata from Azure AI. This list contains the things that we're going to ask the AI system to provide for us. So we can ask for one or more. So if we only want tags, we can ask just for tags. But in this case, I'm asking for a description, which is kind of like a caption of the image, describing the entire image in a sentence. Tags, categories are a predefined hierarchical set of categories that the Azure AI can apply. We'll see what that looks like later. And then objects are image detection. So maybe then an object could be a dog or a waterfall or a tower. So these are the things we're asking for. There are other categories like adult content detection and brand detection. But these are the ones I'm really focused on for this solution. And this line here is the important one. So we're actually taking the image data and posting that to Azure AI and telling it what features we wanted. So here's our features and our file open read. We're just reading from the file system, very simple. And then when that responds, we can then iterate through each of the categories. So If we look at what captions were returned, we really only care about the first one because it has the highest confidence, so we're extracting that. Here we're grabbing all the tags that have a confidence of more than 50% from Azure AI, and then the same for categories, landmarks, and any detected objects within the image. And once we have all that metadata, now we want to actually upload the images. So we wanted to upload the image and generate a thumbnail for the image. So we'll actually call Azure AI again to generate a thumbnail for us in this call, and we'll tell it we want a 100 by 100 pixel thumbnail using the same image data. And what Azure AI will do is it'll analyze the image, decide what the actual subject of the image is, and then make a thumbnail around that. That's 100 by 100. And then from there, we'll upload the image here, and we'll upload the thumbnail here to Blob Store. And we'll leverage that in the Power BI later. So that's our program. So let's actually run this. I've already imported a lot of data into the solution, but I'm going to add one more subject area. So I have a set of images that were shot in Paris, France. So they look like this. So there's 100 or so. And what I'm going to do to process these is go ahead and run this application. And it's going to pull in those images, process them, and then send them on to database and Blob Store for use in Power BI later. So we can see the applications iterating through all the images, submitting each of them to Azure AI for classification and analysis, and then taking the output of that and putting it into a SQL database and uploading the images to Blob Store. So I'll wait for this to complete, and then we'll go over and look at the Power BI solution. Okay, so our job run is complete, and I'm just going to take a quick look at the Azure SQL database and see what we have. So I'm going to just do a quick select on the images table, which is the center of the star. And I can see that I have a bunch of images now that are from Paris, France. And I can see just in the SQL database some of the AI enrichment that's happened. So here's a caption that I have for the image that's been applied. So I can see I have a statue of a man, a fireplace in a room, people sitting in a room. So these are the captions that AI has provided for us. A lot of the other data came from EXIF. So this is data that's embedded in the image when the camera took the picture. So we grabbed that and put that in here as well. So now we've seen the data. Let's take a look at the final result, which is the Power BI solution. So here in the Power BI data model, we can see that images table that we just looked at. And around that are all of the tags, images, categories, and landmarks that we pulled out of Azure AI. So these are many-to-many tables because we can have the same tags apply to many images, and an image can have many tags. So these are all many-to-many relationships. And the first thing I'm going to do is refresh this data to pull in those new Paris images. So this will pull from Azure SQL database and refresh the Power BI data model with that new data. So let's take a look at the actual Power BI visuals. So this first tab is very descriptive. It has image stats telling me how many images I have from various places. And you can see on the left-hand side here, I have objects found within the image by Azure AI, and I have tags that Azure AI applied as well. So one of the tags is buildings. So if I wanted to see where did I take pictures of buildings, I can see Scotland, Beijing, Paris, Pompeii, and it kind of counts how many images in each location have a building in them. And there are many tags here to choose from. So one might be sea ice. So sea ice is Iceland primarily, which makes sense. Similarly, objects, if there I can look through here and see that there are several pictures from various places that have a bicycle in them. And this is data that I didn't have to describe myself. The AI found those, and I just put those into the data model from there. The second tab is image search. So this is actually my favorite because I can look through and find landmarks. So it looks like I have some pictures of the Colosseum in Italy. So if I want to see that image, I can click on that, and that will come up in a web browser. Dunner Castle in Scotland. And this is data that I didn't describe it. Azure AI actually recognized these landmarks and tagged these images, which I put into the database. Gullfoss waterfall in Iceland. Similarly, I can look at this by tag. So Looks like I took a picture of some zebras in Beijing. So I can look at that photo, and so on. So there's quite a lot of data here. I can limit by specific locations. I can limit by objects found, so what images had airplanes in them, monkeys. And then for each of these images, there's a text description that Azure AI has applied. So people walking on a sidewalk, a street with a pile of clothes. So I find two men standing in front of a mountain. That's a friend of mine in front of a mountain at the Great Wall. And there's a man standing on a stone wall overlooking a city. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. That's what that is. And then the third tab that I have here is really keying into the locations. So here I can see the location of the images that I took in Iceland, and to kind of see where those places were. And it looks like I have image data for Scotland as well. Okay, that's our solution. I hope you found it interesting. I'm fascinated by the way we can use AI tools to, very easily and quickly enrich image data and really treat images as a data source, which is something, years ago we really wouldn't have been able to do. So if you have any questions, leave some comments, and I will see you next time.